Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tech4Good NIFA project, PIR in-service for tribal education in 2020. This is our virtual session, and we're glad that you could attend. Just wanted to introduce you to Tech4Good. For those of you who aren't aware, Tech4Good's been around for a few years now, and we focus on challenges in the community to engage students with using technology, design, innovation, and a focus on science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. We hope that regardless of what grade level you teach or which kind of classes you have, you might find something very useful as we talk to you and share with you our project with the United States Department of Agriculture's NIFA grant, which is the National Institute for Food and Agriculture, in collaboration with Virgil Dupuy at the Salish Kootenai College Extension. We're very proud and happy to be able to collaborate with Virgil, and especially with the teachers across the Mission Valley. So thanks for joining us again. And we think that you'll kind of enjoy, we hope that you'll enjoy some of this. The idea is that we get teachers collaborating in a network. We're calling it sort of the Grow Collaborative or the School Garden Network. And this allows using some technology and a little coordination for students and classrooms to be able to share projects with each other, and then working with the SKC Extension as experts to help guide their growth, so to speak. So what you'll get out of this session, you'll be able to find out from our teacher participants, some of the teachers that have been working with us are going to share with you kind of what they've done and how they've done it, some of the positive things that they've done and some of the challenges that they've encountered. We really are trying to focus on flexible adaptations within the network that different classroom teachers with different populations of students can really adapt the network projects to fit their needs really well. So I hope you'll find that in today's presentation. And then we also really want to provide some possible ways for you to get involved and engage your students in these very interesting times to perhaps grow their own food, use some technology, and engage in healthy and sustainable ways. So thanks for coming. Introducing our panelists here we have today, and thank you for joining us, our panelists. Myself, I'm Jonathon Richter. I'm the director of the Tech4Good programs, which is an outreach effort of the Digital Design Technologies Department at Salish Kootenai College. Becky Goff, who is the president and CEO of Native Teaching Aids, one of Tech4Good's main collaborators. Renee Dubé, who is a lead consultant and creative assistant, working with us to facilitate the Grow Collaborative for the project. Dana Hewenkorn is the community facilitator with the Tribal Health Department's Reason to Live Native Suicide Prevention Program. Has joined us, and also a number of teachers. Tim Marchant at St. Ignatius High School. He's an English and literature teacher. Amy Williams, she has joined us, and she's at Polson Middle School. as well as Bonnie White from Arley High School and Tara Flink from Ronan Middle School. So they're going to talk to you about sort of some of the ways that they've taken part in the Tech4Good outreach program and different ways that they've adapted some of the offerings. So I think you'll get something out of that. So about the NIFA project real quick. The grant was written through the United States Department of Agriculture in collaboration with Virgil Dupuy at SKC Extension, and designed to work with different community experts, such as Virgil and SKC faculty, as well as area teachers from the tribal education and the digital design technologies department at Salish Kootenai College. And together we work on creating this GROW collaborative, which is a network of different schools and student projects working with the SKC Extension to grow healthy and sustainable foods and model culture and different kinds of learning in ways that are meaningful and engaging to the students. So in addition to that collaborative of different projects from across the reservation, we have a 360 video and virtual reality aspect to the project. So using the technology to draw in and engage students in meaningful ways. So we'll share a little bit about that. And with the help of our friends at Native Teaching Aids, the co-design and development of a trivia game that teaches and reinforces how well do you know your valley, which is a game that we're really excited about collaborating around. And then finally, the last major component of the NIFA project is the creation of a calendar, a 12-month calendar that features sort of the Healthy and Sustainable Diet by Montana State University project partners, and features a lot of the design and work of the GROW Collaborative, as well as the professional designs of Leslie Anderson, who's the main instructor for the Digital Design Technology Department at Salish Kootenai College. So that's pretty exciting. And then finally, ways for us to support you teachers using education technology to reach out to students who might be sheltering in place and support learning through a variety of different technologies like Google Sites or Flipgrid, the stop motion cameras and 360-degree cameras. So we hope you'll find that as an opportunity as well. So before we even get started, we're like to point you to this link here that I'd like you to just kind of take a couple of minutes and think about what are a couple of ways that you think your students might get out of a project like this before we really even dive in, just from the basic descriptions, and what might be some potential barriers for you. So go ahead and take a couple of minutes and complete that little survey that's in the link there, and then we'll get into introducing you to the teachers and discussing more about the project. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Goff. I am the CEO and president of Native Teaching Aids. Some of you might know Native Teaching Aids is based here in the Valley in St. Ignatius, our mission specifically. And what we do is we work with tribes and communities to create materials that focus on Indigenous language, culture, and history. Like Jonathan said, we've been with Flooded Tech4Good since the beginning, working with SKC, and we've been working with the Salish Gillespie Culture Committee since 2014, 2015, as well as tribes around Montana and in North America. And what we've been doing inside of here is a few other things. What we're really excited about, what I'm really excited about, is Native Teaching Aids loves working inside of the school system. Being a part of this NEFA grant and the USDA grant has been an amazing opportunity, and really exciting to see not only the teachers and how that teacher network has worked inside of this project, but also the students' feedback, the students' reactions to whether they're growing their own plants at home, whether they're growing and learning from their mistakes and experiences inside of the classroom before the shutdown happened, as well as what's going into this year. And something we're really excited about doing, which will involve all of the schools in the Valley and as many students as we can fit, is a trivia game. So we love the Mission Valley, right? There's so much rich history, ecology, nature, plants, animals involved in this Mission Valley. And what we want to do is share that inside the classroom, at home, maybe even across the United States if we can. So what we're asking from everybody is to submit questions and answers to us, and we can come up with a fully collaborative, Valley collaborative trivia game. And there'll be more information. I have a flyer attached to this where you guys can look up how to do this. If you can see in a couple of these images, what it'll be is there'll be a picture of that image, and then there'll be questions below. So Dancing Boy. This one is about Dancing Boy, and you can see it's got a picture of the mountain, as well as there'll be a full picture of the mountain on the other side. And then on here there's one correct answer and a couple, and the rest of them are incorrect answers. What we're asking is either submissions can come in a form of a photo, a drawing. You can come up with the question and your answers. A couple of the other teachers have made this an assignment inside of their classroom. If you have any questions, though, we can totally work with you on this. And like I said, the flyer will be attached at the end of this talk. Native Teaching Aids, in the fall, we with the NEFA project, we came up with the different projects. We started with the Grow Collaborative because we wanted to engage the teachers as soon as possible. The teacher network with Renee Dubé and SKC, Virgil Dupuis at SKC Extension. Because of this, it took a little bit of legwork in the beginning, where we're sourcing all the equipment, getting all the camera work together, making sure the right time-lapse camera will go with the right plant. And as you see in some of these videos, you'll be able to see the teachers' actual time-lapse that they did with their students in these videos that I'm really excited to show. Then we had to train the teachers how to use the cameras, make sure all the seeds got together. Renee spent like days just trying to get the seeds and the soil and the pots all together and distributed to the teachers. You know, all of the work, the legwork put into it was really well rewarded at the end of December last year, when we were able to output those videos, be able to show it to the teachers, and in turn they could show it to their students. We were all ready to go for phase 2, that they were ready to go, and then all of a sudden shutdown happened and we had to completely revamp what we were doing. How do you grow plants during the shutdown? And these students, I mean, the reactions you will hear about that these teachers had is just rewarding in itself. And the amount of work we all put into this over the summer, and the kids and the students being able to really get excited about learning how to grow things, learning what to do with food, and create that, was a really great project to be a part of.
All right. Welcome, everybody. My name is Renee Dubé. I've had the pleasure of working with the Tech4Good NIFA project for the last several years, and helping to realize this dream kind of a network of teachers and partners and families around this topic of gardening, food sustainability, food security. And so I've been the school garden coordinator, I guess you'd say. Thank you. This effort for school gardening, connecting teachers and the others in the community that are working on this topic of food and gardening and food security has been a passion of quite a few of us for a long time. The original idea came from actually Mike Derglow, who is now head of the CSKT Tribal Preservation Department. But when he was head of the Natural Resource Department EPA division and began the Eagles program. Some of you might have heard of it. One of the original concepts was to have a garden in every community that would involve the students. So actually the very first meeting of the school garden network was a meeting at SKC Extension about 4 years ago, and it was called the Garden Club. But anyway, this idea of connecting the power of you as teachers together with the students and their families to have it finally come to fruition in this way through NIFA has been just real a joy. And the teachers have worked very hard, and to partner with Becky and Native Teaching Aids and delivering grow lights and seeds and learning about Google Doc data and the Flipgrid. It's Extension, Virgil and his staff have helped. It's been very exciting, and I think there's nowhere to go but up in terms of connecting what people that are doing this in the schools and the communities. And certainly the 50 garden beds that were paid for this summer by Braids and SKC Extension along with Tech4Good was a huge investment made possible by the partners, Tam Yelser and Braids and Virgil Dupuis, and of course Tech4Good. And also during the year, Braids partnered with this Tech4Good NIFA school garden project and provided several trainings with stipends, and the dinner in the garden last September at SKC Extension. So it's just a long held dream, I guess, of a lot of us to connect teachers, students, families, and partners like SKC and tribal departments. So I'm excited and honored we got to talk about it.
Oh, bonjour. My name is Amy Williams, and I am a teacher at Polson Middle School. And I'm going to take a little bit of time to share with you what we did pre-COVID and after COVID, not post yet, but what we were able to do with the NIFA Tech4Good Flathead Reservation School Garden Network, and after COVID, the Homegrown Project, who have that as well. Everything that is in here, past, present, and looking towards the future, has influenced what we're doing, at least what I'm doing and what I bring to the table for the NIFA Tech4Good School Garden Network team. So these are quite a few of the things that I have done and that we've worked on pre-COVID, and once COVID ended up hitting, how we've had to change and adapt our focus. So a large influence that we have with the entire project is creating a relationship with locally grown foods, whether that is a very hands-on relationship or bringing people in, or some type of just one part of that relationship with our food. So before COVID, we were focusing on microgreens and really working on that quick turnaround, about 3 weeks from soil to seed to stomach. And it was a starter, kind of that way to introduce students to what growing your own food can be. Rather than having to wait 3.5 months for a tomato, we were able to, within 3 weeks, sometimes even 2 weeks, harvest and eat and taste and enjoy. So of course, microgreens truly is the gateway plant. This was our starter to what we were going to be introducing into our garden, in addition to what we had already been working on with our garden. But after we had planted, literally, it was about 2 weeks after this round of planting that we ended up having to have our COVID closures for school. With COVID, that changed everything. We as teachers were responsible for taking care of it and trying to reach out and see what can we do next? What can we make sure that these kiddos are able to still learn? So the beautiful thing about this is we were able to get some financial supports from the SKC Braids program. And because we couldn't have kids in class, we couldn't have them really together in the school gardens, we were able to take our focus of food sovereignty, food security, and that learning that we had wanted. And we were able to, with the money that was donated by the Braids Project, create raised beds that went into the kids' homes. That was a way for them to have that hands-on connection that we had wanted, and it was able to give us about 50 beds across the Flathead Reservation. This is everything that we were able to provide. Some of these we bought from the Triple Divide Seed Company, the organic seed cooperative, and then some are from seeds that either I had or ones that had been donated from a couple of different places. But giving these plants to students, not just seeds, there were seeds as well. We had quite a few seeds that we ended up sharing out, but instant success, instant gratification right here, showing that, okay, I got this, I can do this. And students were able to choose what they wanted. It wasn't just here, you are going to grow this. It was a choice. It was neat to be able to take what we were doing in the classroom and share it out into the homes and make it something that was really connected that way. My kids, 100% involved, whether they wanted to be or not. That's the interesting fun of being a teacher's kid. So the SKC Extension Office, without them, we would not have been able to do any of this. They ended up putting together all of the raised beds, as much as we could, locally sourced product, locally sourced materials, but being able to not just say, here, I'm doing this all for you, but we are delivering and bringing materials and things that are going to help you be independent in a way that you haven't been before, or that maybe you weren't as involved with before in the food sovereignty and growing realm, where I am making my own food, and that's where we were able to bring it into the kids' homes for this. So my own kids' garden, getting our hands in the soil and working, repurposing and recycling different things around the house to do something that's going to help out in the long run with the garden. We had an old swing set that we had been mowing around. I'm sure everybody has something that they mow around, but it was no longer functional as a swing. And rather than just sending that to the dump and then spending money on something else to help with the structure of the garden, we repurposed this guy, painted, took apart, moved, and this has now become, you can't really see all of the strings that are right there, but this is our tomato supports. And then when the temperatures are getting low, beautiful, amazing part of the frame where we can put our frost blankets, which are basically just sheets that we're not using. So just giving that freedom, that skill set, and the excitement of being able to grow, and then just the responsibilities that comes with that is really enlightening. Our next steps. Since we are fortunate enough to have in-person classes back at the school, we're continuing to do as much as we can with growing, harvesting, and preserving. So we're not able to have kids cooking in the ways that we have before, so we're getting a little creative with some different just some different interactive lessons for kids, looking at, but rather than this going into the landfill, we're creating some recycling and repurposing projects for our students to do. And this is going to be shared out with our other schools reservation wide as well. So, watering, learning about what can we do while we're still in the garden right now, while we still have kids. So just keeping with the garden that we have here, we were able to get a seed donation from the Native Seed Search. So a lot of our indigenous foods that we are able to keep within our communities and share out with our communities as well. And again, what can we do with our harvests that we have now? What can we do to preserve them and save them? So not only are we enjoying them now, but how are we going to be able to enjoy them this winter? How are we going to be able to take these seeds and make it into something that is going to be kind of that security for us in the spring and in future years as well? Teaching those skills and having it so our students are able to pass that on to their families, and they're working together with it. I appreciate the time that you have spent listening to this. It's quite a bit to do in just a few minutes here, and I think I've gone way over on my time, but I appreciate it. Please reach out if you have any questions.
Hi everyone, my name is Bonnie White and I teach math and science at Arley High School. And today I was going to talk to you guys about my Eagles Club and how working with Tech4Good and Native Teaching Aids has completely been amazing, especially during distance learning and then revamping what we usually do in our classroom. So just a quick little brief about the Arley Eagles Club. We're an environmental science group. And students, it's a student-led group, and what they do every single year is they choose different projects that they want to work on throughout the school year. So last year, I had a group that was really into organic gardening, and they wanted to do work on building our greenhouse, and we're almost done, so that's really exciting. And they were also really interested in air quality studies. So they were looking at a lot of the different fires in the Amazon and the Congo and actually comparing it with our air quality here in the Jocko Valley. So it's just some different projects and everything, and they change each year, and that's what's wonderful. But like always that we all experienced last spring during the shutdown, a lot of those projects stopped and they kind of had to be revamped a little bit into something a little bit different for students to be able to do them at home. So one thing we started to do, students were going out and doing still recycling throughout the community at their homes. But after doing some of that, they realized they didn't have some of the materials to continue on a lot with their gardening. And that's where Native Teaching Aids and Tech4Good were amazing. They went above and beyond and gave different materials for students to be able to learn how to garden at home. They built their raised garden beds that were impeccable. You couldn't buy those anywhere. They were solid. They will be able to use them forever. I had students creating their own gardens. They had native seeds from local vendors, soil, everything from right here in the Mission in the Jocko Valley. So it was amazing. So it was really a community-based group, really providing for students and for teachers and giving us kind of a little help with different types of curriculum we could do with the students while they're growing and gardening and really diving into even some of the mastery gardener programs, which are amazing. Another thing we also did was doing the Jocko Valley and Mission Valley trivia board submissions, and those were so much fun. The kids had an amazing time with that. They were able to go outside and travel anywhere, obviously still social distancing, and take pictures of environmental issues that were around, or even just wonderful geographic locations in the valley, and actually build scientific questions around them to kind of help teach even the youth about different environmental issues that are going on right where we live. They also even included a lot of students that have Salish knowledge. They were using native Salish names for a lot of just different, berries, plants, animals that we actually see every day in our valley to help teach and preserve the Salish language as well. So again, the Tech4Good and Native learning aids were amazing to really help with both the teachers and the students. Everything that we would need to do social distancing and keep a lot of our programs that we normally do in classroom still going, even though the kids were, at home and without a lot of the resources that we have in the classroom. So highly recommend it. If you guys want to get more involved with our Eagles group, I'd love to talk with you, and I can get you help you get set up and everything with starting your own environmental science club. So hopefully I get to hear from you. Remember, my name's Bonnie White and I'm at Arley High School. So just reach out and I'd love to talk to you. Thank you. Bye.
Great. Well, I think, Tara talked about starting small, and that was really good advice for me. The bulk of my career, I've been an 11th and 12th grade English teacher, and we really focus on the ACT and senior projects, and it's left very little room for growing plants in my classroom. And so when the opportunity arose, I felt a little bit like a little bit out of place, but I decided to dive in and just check it out. So we grew some plants in my classroom, last year before the closure, and we had the cameras set up and everything, and kids were pretty fascinated by that. I didn't have them collect any data, but I was collecting it via my own phone and sharing that with them. I didn't really have a curriculum in place, and I'm still kind of working on that, but just having plants in my room was some kids told me it was a calming effect on them, and I thought that was very cool. My impetus for getting in was my concern about food, growing it, eating it, making sure there's plenty for everybody. And so that's how I sort of got directed this way. Of course, the pandemic shut us down, but then we got a couple of chances. I got a couple of chances over the summer to interact with kids, which might not have happened otherwise without the NIFA grant and the Tech4Good and the School Garden Network. First of all, of course, we delivered some garden boxes. 3 students, 2 resource room teachers, and myself all got garden boxes, and we started growing plants. And I've gotten photos and some email communications from them in cases where I shared them to our Google site. I also got an opportunity, since I had some leftover materials, seeds, dirt, soil, and some planting pots. I got an offer from the elementary summer program, enrichment program, to come over and do a presentation. And since I had those materials, they had 2 half-day classes, so we reached about 40 kids.
Wow.
So went over in the morning. We read some stories, Jack and the Beanstalk, and another one that I read with him was called Plant a Seed and See What Grows by Roland Goller. And then we finished by planting some seeds that kids got to take home, some planters. And so that was kind of an unexpected opportunity that I normally, as a high school teacher, wouldn't have had. I was dealing with kids or TKO through 4th grade, which is totally out of my experience. But it was very cool, a very relaxed summertime thing, and went well. And of course, as the summer went on, I was able to keep up with kids and got pictures and emails from the stuff that they were growing, the kids with the planter boxes. I learned my own mistakes. I've had gardens before, but I really overplanted this. That little 4x4 box, and I have some tremendous. I have sunflowers in that box that are 14 feet tall.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, food and the sustainability, the sovereignty, the security of it is kind of the way that I'm approaching literature this year. I'm hoping to do Dune, where we talk about the resource of water, and kids are excited about that. What are we going to do next? I said, well, I'm thinking about Dune, and they're like, oh man, there's a new movie, and I said, yeah. So, and teaching about growing food. So, yeah, it was just jumping in. That would be my, somebody who's thinking, I don't know if I could do that. You can. It's just making that first step.
Hi, my name is Tara Flink, and I'm a 7th grade teacher in Ronan. And I have been doing a bunch of projects already in class with gardening, and I saw this opportunity to further gardening with students. So I've already kind of instilled that with some of the kids that I've had prior. My in-school activities, we had broken up. I had a really large class, and we broke up the students, and I broke up the students into a bunch of different groups, and they came up with different variables that they wanted to check and do for the seeds that we had gotten to begin with. And they had an amazing time. We had grow lights. We had some that had their plants up in the windows, and then they also had some that were back in my back room, and they had a blast with it. They were watering them out of control and learned that you can't water a plant a cup a day. So there's different things that they learned that they had no idea that was going on. And so the in-school part was really fun, because not only were they involved in it, but the kids that came through and all the other classes were able to see what was going on. But, actually, I had, like I said, I had like 2 or 3 that were in the class, and then because the kids that had seen what the kids in the other classes that had seen what the other kids were doing,
Right.
I had kids from all of the classes interacting and wanting to do it. So the kids that I gave out that, you know, that we took the gardens to, and I went and did the gardens with, they were not in that first initial class. So it actually filled out over to all of the other kids that wanted to do, that saw what we were doing and wanted to participate. So the amount of kids that wanted to do a garden and were so involved with the ones that were here and how excited they were to check on their plants. Yeah. I think that's the best part about it. They got to pick, you know, did they want to have it covered? Did they not want to have it covered? You know, it was, and I can't wait to do it again, just because it is so much fun, and it is fun to watch the kids be involved in something like that, where you kind of give them the parameters and then you kind of let them go, you know, like, and due to COVID, it like sparked a whole bunch of interest for me to really make sure that I could get out there and interact with the kids, because we had lost that communication. And so, number one, it allowed for me to stay in contact with the kids where maybe we possibly weren't able to do so. I am an avid gardener. This activity was super great to do, because it was literally me being able to have that stuff given to the kids for them to have at home and get them set up. And every single time I see a kid that has a garden that we were able to give them, they are so excited, and their faces light up, and they're like, "Oh my God, Miss Flink, guess what?" And I literally went over to one of the kids' house, and they're like, "Nothing really happened. We didn't get anything, and the deer ate everything." And so I was like, I can't believe that. So I was like, let's go over and look. Let's see what you got. And we walked over there, and they had a pumpkin, no joke, that was like this big around, and it was all green. And they're like, "Oh my gosh!" And like they were so excited. And I'm like, "Wait a second, there's more." And they're like, and I was like, there's no way the deer could have ate all that stuff. And then they had tomatoes, and I have a lot of them that were taking pictures as they each week, and they were super excited to be able to, they were, you know, just really involved in it, and it just makes a really good connection with myself and the students and everything. So it was really fun to do. I really think it's a great thing, because it's something that is going to be carried on from year to year, because some of them, they were like, "Oh, this didn't work, but we want to try this." And so It's been really fun, and I see them here at school, and we have no really huge interaction, but it's nice to see them, and they talk to me about what's going on with their gardens and everything, and they're still getting things out of it. You know, it might not be a lot, but they're still doing it. So to me, that was really exciting. It's just, yeah, it's really good for the kids to see that they can grow things themselves, eat it, and then continue on with that. They're learning as well, and so they're learning by trial and error, which is awesome. So I think it's an amazing program, and I'm really glad to be part of it.
How would they take a first step?
Oh, definitely. Number one, do it. Number two, start small if you've never done it before, and give kids their individual plans to do, because it gives them a little bit more responsibility, and allow for them to do, kind of create what they're doing, and give them a little bit more leeway. But definitely start small and work your way up, but definitely do it, because you can use it with so many different avenues. Even if you're a history teacher or a math teacher, you know, what is the percentage of the plants that grow, or, you know, anything, English, everything, you can use it with everything. And it's simple. Plants are super resilient. And you can grow them all the time in your classroom. So it's something that could be an ongoing process. This was the biggest group of kids that I've ever had that have wanted to be that involved with the process of gardening and plants and everything, which is super great, because I'm like, yay, I'm doing my job.
Well, I'm Dana Huan-Korn, and I work for the Reason to Live Native Suicide Prevention Program for Tribal Health. And I accidentally got into this project as a community volunteer in Elmo. I accidentally became a gardener last year, and that's not a lie. So I started, and I'm pretty active in social media. So everything I do, everybody has to know what I'm doing. So last year I started gardening, had 4 beds. They were all given to me. Someone brought me 7 plants, and then that turned into, at work, that turned into 2 garden beds at work, 4 beds at home last year. And then, but in the meantime, because I was so active on Facebook and the different projects I participated in that Renee and I did last year, and this year I was asked to help with this project and getting, they asked me to help find 10 families to get some garden boxes too. So I was able to do that and find some people in the Elmo, Dayton, Big Arm community. And we brought 10 garden beds there. My husband helped fill them up. I helped, I try to do my guidance as a fledgling gardener myself to these families. I had some that were really successful. You could see the excitement, and you can see the kids, they will post their giant zucchinis or their failed tomatoes or whatever the story is on that day. It was really fun to watch and see the excitement and watch the kids learn about food and learn about where it came from. I mean, even my own kids. Yesterday I did my potatoes, 2 of my potatoes. So I opened up my potatoes and, let them figure out how much we have. And my little guy was like, I've never seen roots before. So, I mean, just the whole process of learning about food and learning about where it comes from and how to take care of it. And it just isn't from the store. That responsibility of taking care of your plants and doing what you need to do to do the food. So I had 10 to start with. And then as summer went on, I was able to get some things to a couple more families, whether it was buckets or, getting folks started on even a tomato plant or some potatoes. So there was an interest in doing that. And what I also learned on accident is that other people in the community were also gardening. So, and then I'd get phone calls. What do I do with this? It's like, man, I'm like a beginner. You really want to ask me what to do with this? I don't know. But we were learning together. So, you know, I know I got the 10, we have 10 of those. They're 4x4 garden beds. And then I have another family that is pretty active in gardening. Another one, probably about 6 more that I'm aware of that are getting pretty active in Elmo, Dayton, and Big Arm, and trying to learn how to do that. Additionally, I'm taking the food preservation course. I become a master canner and preserver, so I can also know how to take care of the food that I'm growing, and then I'll teach that in the future. So that's kind of where I am. And you know, I guess the biggest thing I bring out of this is building partnerships and connections with each other, because I didn't know a lot of you before this project, you know, and whether it's, even if it's only through Facebook, because of the world we're in right now, I think it's still built a connection to each other. And through that, I mean, like, my connection to this group is also, you know, reconnecting to the families I work with, so I can bring that information to those people. If they give me a question that I don't know, I'll bring it to the other people I'm connected with, whether it's the extension or various gardeners or people who might know a lot more than I do, which is a lot. There's a lot of people who know a lot more about gardening than I do. You know, but I feel like it was a success. And I think, you know, even like the ones that didn't end up growing anything, there was still a learning process that went on for the families. And I think that was really important. And there's something healing in the earth, I think. I've had a really traumatic last couple years, and getting in there in the dirt, taking care of something, having something that absolutely needs me to survive was very helpful. And I know that if I felt that, these families can do that as well. And so they're not only nourishing their bodies with food, but there's also nourishing their soul, if that makes sense, and maybe helping them process things that they may not process. Prior to COVID, we had a pretty active after school program. And in March, we all know that came to an end due to COVID. And the timing of this project really helped me carry those families that I had worked for 2 years with in a community that's been devastated by suicide. So it came at a really good time to keep families engaged. Even though we couldn't be with each other, we were still working with each other from a distance. So it was like phenomenal timing to have this project come together at this time. And it's continuing because I also partner with the Flathead Extension Office. We have some bees out in Elmo. So we're also doing beekeeping, where we were going to do a chicken meat project, and that had to stop because of COVID, but we're still moving forward with these kinds of activities for the kids. So I just want to extend my huge thanks and gratitude, not only from me, but from the community, for this piece of the project, you know, and how it can like layer on each other.
Hello, my name is Leslie Anderson, and I am the department chair and faculty member of the Digital Design Technology Department at SKC. Hi there, I just wanted to take a few minutes to visit with you about the Healthy and Sustainable Diets calendar that Tech4Good and Digital Design Technology has been working on in collaboration with the SKC Extension Office. The thought behind this project was to provide an opportunity to visually educate our communities about the efforts of the Healthy and Sustainable Diet curriculum that SKC Extension Office, alongside Montana State University, has been conducting to improve the overall health of those living on the Flathead Reservation. And the SKC Extension Office really, they wanted to produce a calendar that would visually portray some of the important and key content from the curriculum that they teach. The educational opportunities that this calendar can provide is really, has like a longevity behind it. So not only do the consumers have the opportunity to look at the content that is part of the calendar for the month, but it really also allows them to keep it forever to use as a resource. It also provides an opportunity for visitors to their homes, their offices, and their classrooms to discuss the content that is part of it, and maybe even change some habits for other people as well. So I had the opportunity to do some of the visual graphics with it and really put some of the panels together based on the content that was provided. And we also had the opportunity to work with the fine arts department at SKC's department head and his wife, Cameron Decker and Aspen Decker, to create some of the beautiful artistic attributes that are also part of it. The two pieces that you see here from Sachet Camel, she provided these beautiful pieces of art, and this is really kind of what the calendar will look like. So we also wanted to not only put the healthy and sustainable diets content in there, but we also wanted to really give that cultural feel to it as well, because it's very important. And we really wanted to bring it home, I guess, so to speak. So this is, like I said, this is really what the calendar will look like once it's laid out. Some of the other panels that I kind of wanted to show you, I'll do that here in a minute. But if you see here, like, we're adding healthy recipes that go along with the months. We have photos of participants from the curriculum, also like what vegetables are in season. There'll be some great events happening, or like when the Bitterroot Dig is happening and things like that throughout the calendar, just to kind of allow people the opportunity to participate in some of these great cultural activities. So Harmony of the Whole was one of them, and this is really talking about how we take a whole grain and then it ends up becoming refined, and then it leaves us with just only the endosperm, and really kind of removes a lot of the really good things about the whole grain. And so this was really just the opportunity to educate on the importance of eating whole grains and why it's important. And then this one is Food is Medicine. And this is one of the really beautiful, along with all of these artistic attributes that Cameron and Aspen had provided us. And this is something that eating the rainbow and how important that is, and how certain colors of vegetables or fruits have different vitamins and what they do for the body and why it's important. And then this is the other one that I wanted to show you. This is dietary diversity, and it's kind of just like the same My Plate option that the USDA provides, and then we just kind of wanted to put the native plate spin on that and what that might look like from a cultural component. I don't want to show you too many of the other panels because I'd like for you to have the opportunity to maybe get the calendar and review it yourself, but I think that this has been a really successful project, and I look forward to the production and for our communities to get the opportunity to view them.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to this talk, and I wish we could be there in person, face to face, just answering all of your questions right away, which I'm sure you have many. We are going to try and put as much as we can at the back here, which will be full of resources, including Flipgrid, our own homegrown network curriculum that we did inside the classroom, as well as the one over the summer. Also garden resources, how to source your own garden and distribute those to the kids, or to the students, sorry, and contacts with SKC Extension, Native Teaching Aids, Flathead Tech4Good, and all the teachers and Google sites will be up shortly too, that will from Flathead Tech4Good site. How to join, how to get started right now with us too is the Teacher Network is a free thing, and you're more than welcome to join this Teacher Network. It's worldwide full of resources that all the teachers join, and they contribute to. Also SKC Extension, like I said before, supports seed sourcing. They really want to see every classroom, every school have a garden. Passion for this. And also the trivia game, I'm going to attach that flyer on this as well, so you guys will be able to contribute to the trivia game. If there are any questions, all of our contact information is below. And thank you for listening. I hope you guys all have a great day.